Hi guys, my name is Paul and welcome back to the channel. Today's video, I'm going to try and build a full machine learning module and try and deploy it. It's actually a very simple one. I'm going to use scikit-learn's MNIST dataset, the one about classifying, how do you call it? The one about classifying digits, whether the digit is 0 up to 9, and then the input is 28 by 28 matrix of basically a picture of the digits written on a sheet of paper or something like that. So I'm going to do it from scratch, and it's going to be a really long video, I'm thinking. And I'm going to start. So it will be full length, which means that I will not cut any place, or even the place I cut would be just the ones you don't need to see. I'll leave everything, my research and everything, how I suffered, how I'll suffer, how I'll try and work my way through, and get to the top and then be able to deploy the model. Mind you, this is my very first time doing this, so it's not like I have an experience or anything. Now, I've got my notebook set up. I've got a certain plan for this particular project. So I'm calling it a digit identifier. And this is my very first machine learning project I'm going to take on. So I'm supposed to keep it simple. The aim is to go through the full process of tackling a machine learning problem, from obtaining the data set and preparing the data set, and then being able to deploy it into a model. Being able to deploy a model, and I'm going to use a website for that. So I've figured out everything into maybe 3 or 4 steps. The first one is to get a data set. And as I've said, I'm going to use scikit-learn's MNIST data set. So I wouldn't even need to worry myself, because this data set is like almost prepared and I don't need to do anything about it. Then I'll train a model and save it. This part should be easy. I'm not going to focus on building the best model, because I still have a lot to learn. I'm still learning machine learning and I have a lot to learn. So I'm going to focus on building a model that works. And as long as the model works, I'm going to deploy it to the website. Now the website is supposed to help me. Like, my idea is that I would take a picture from the user and then I would classify the picture for the user, whether it's a digit or not, something like that. Not whether it's a digit or not. That would be a binary classifier. I will actually give the specific digit that it is. That's the whole plan of this whole video. So as I build it live, I'm going to be recording myself as I do it. So right here I've got my folder set up, digit identifier. And I think I have to increase the font for this particular VS Code window so that all of you will be able to see what I'm doing over here. So I'm going to settings and I'm going to correctly using the font size 15. I'm going to change to 20. Let me see how it will look like. Well, 20 is big, but it's not all that bad. Let me try 18. Yeah, I hope you will also be able to see it. And I'll change the terminals on to maybe 20. It's not like I'll use the terminal that much anyway. At least not at this point of the video. Alright. So as you all know, I've got my Jupyter notebook set up and I'm going to be using VS Code for the whole thing. And I've got a kernel created for machine learning already. So I'm going to select that kernel and I'm going to start work. So first, what I'm going to be doing is to load the data set, or get a data set, however I want to say it. And then after getting a data set, I'm going to train the model and I'm going to save the module. Then we'll think about how to deploy the model. That's the basic plan of the whole thing. So very first thing is to try and get a data set. Right, so I'm going to change this to code, and now the MNIST data set, I'll be using scikit-learn's one. So from sklearn, that should work. From sklearn dot datasets import fetch open ML. I don't know why the IntelliSense is not working. It's supposed to anyway. So I'm going to do MNIST is equal to alright, it's working now. fetch OpenML, and then how to give the particular thing I want it to fetch. So MNIST, I think they write 784 here, and the version, I want version 1. I want version 1, and as frame, yeah, as frame. Can't you see what is written over it? Anyway, I think it's as frame. As frame equals false, and yeah, basically I've loaded a data set. So if I do MNIST dot key, oh, this is going to take a long time to fetch the module. So 13 seconds. Yeah, my computer is not all that. It's not one of those high-end machines anyway. It's actually Dell XPS. I'm actually expecting it to do better, but maybe it's not supposed to do any better than this. What I'm going to do is that if I see that the training and these particular operations are taking too long, I might cut these places of the video so that I wouldn't waste much of your time. I mean, you can't be staring at just the screen and be waiting for the thing to run. So as this is trying to load, I'm actually going to set up a GitHub repository so that I'll be able to, track everything as we go along. Yeah, my network is not all that fast. So I'm going to create a new repository and I'm going to call it digit classifier. No, classifier is vague. Identifier. I think that's how they spell it. So the module, the program takes images of digits, takes an image of a digit from user and be able to identify it. 0 to 9. Yes, I'm going to make it a public repository. Should I add a git? Yeah, it's cool. Git ignore. Nope, no git ignore. I'm not going to add a readme file. I'll add it if during the processing, like on my PC in the local repository, then I would push it over here rather. And I don't have a license. Or should I add a license? Nope, no license. So I'm going to create a repository. Yeah. Let me go back to the thing and see whether it has finished. Okay, so there's an error. I think that's why it took so long. Okay, I'm not sure I've experienced this before. Come, let me have a look at what I actually did on my GitHub. I have a repository that I used to document whatever I learn, the ML. Let me confirm how exactly I loaded the data. It's very sure it was fetch OpenML. Yeah. MNIST, fetch OpenML. version 1 as frame equals false. Yeah, so what's the problem? They are telling me module SciPy has no attributes. This. Okay, I think I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to close the whole thing and then start again. So I actually see I don't see anything wrong with this unless I did not write the thing well. But that's exactly what I'm seeing over MNIST equals fetch ML and MNIST 784. I wrote 784, right? Yeah. Version is 1 as frame equals false. And that should load the data sets. So I have to just try again. And now my computer is making noise. Sometimes this is really frustrating. Like you would be doing that thing, you know that you're doing the right thing, but the computer doesn't want to allow you to actually do that thing. If it comes again, I'll try and Google the error and see what exactly is happening. As we wait for it, I'm going to try and set up this folder as a Git repository. Yeah, this particular folder. Okay, it has actually loaded. So I'm going to do a git init here to initialize the whole folder as a Git repository, and I'm going to do a git add or git commit -m initial, what should I say, initial commits as usual, and I'm going to do that here. Let's hit clear. All right, so back to the code. So I'm going to do MNIST.keys and I'm going to get the keys, and as you all know, X should be the data, which is MNIST. It's actually a dictionary, so this would be data, and or maybe it's not exactly a dictionary, but it's more like a dictionary. This would be the data, and the Y would be MNIST. What is this? MNIST, and then this would be the target. Right, so those are the major X and the major Y, and I'm going to split this data set into two, the training set and the evaluation set, as we all do. And according to the MNIST data set and according to what I've read, the first 60,000 training examples are part of the training set, and then the rest is the testing. It's the testing set. Basically, it's full of, the whole thing is up to 70,000 training examples. So I can take the very first 60 to train and then the rest 10,000 to test the module. So I'm going to create an X train. Okay, let me call this train test split. So I'm going to have an X train to be equal to the X, right? Or let me do all of them on one line. So X train, Y train, no, like that. Y train, X tests, Y test, right? And the X train would be from the very first one to the 60,000. Is that it? Yeah, that's 50,000. And this would be y from first one to 60,000. And then this will be x test, which would be x from 60,000 to the end. And then the y test would be y from 60,000 to the end. I think that should do the splitting. So right now I'm going to be working with the x train and then the y train. So x train dot shape. Let me see how it is like. Hey. All right. So like I said, it's a 28 by 28 matrix. So all of those pixels they have their data by the pixel intensity, I believe. This is 60,000 for the number of examples that are in there. So what I am going to do is to try and visualize the data. So for example, I can try and draw the first digit over there. So I could just say, okay, let me use this same cell, some digits, and I'm going to just assign it to x train, the very first one of it, right? And I'm going to do some digit image to be equal to some digits dot reshape. Like I said, 28 by 28. So I'll reshape it into a 28 by 28 matrix, and then I'm going to plot it. So I would have to import. No, I'm gonna do it like this: from matplotlib import pyplot as plt. How can import statement be taking this long? All right, so 19 seconds to import matplotlib. All right, I think my computer is sick right now. My computer is sick. Anyway, so I'm going to use my matplotlib to plot this, and I'm going to do plt dot plot. Should be plt dot plot. No, plt dot imshow. Yeah, that's better. And I'm going to do some digits, and I'll do cmap to be equal to, which cmap should I actually use? I don't know much about the matplotlib module, so I'm going to go and check it again. So I think we use cmap to be okay, binary. That's interesting. I'm doing this live and I'm saying that I don't know how to do that thing. I mean, we're all learning. So matplotlib dot imshow some digits cmap equals binary. Then I'm going to do plt dot show. Okay, I can do axis off first. Plt dot axis off, so that the axis will not, worry us. Okay, what now? Invalid shape for image data. I thought I reshaped it. Oh, okay. This should be some digit image, not some digit. Some digit image. Yeah. All right. So this is our digit. This guy. So the very first one it looks like 5. So basically, people would give me a picture like this, and I'm going to send a picture to the module, and then I'll train the module, something like that. So I don't need to do much about the training, the data preparation, because most of the data is already prepared. It doesn't have any potholes to be filled and all of that. So I'm just going to go straight to the training mode, the part where I train the module. So let me change this to Markdown. Train models. All right. So I'm going to be training classifiers. And the very first classifier I can think about is an SVC, the support vector machine classifier. So I'm going to do, yeah. let me do this. SVC. All right, so from sklearn dot from sklearn dot svm, I believe, import svc. So I'm going to do an SV classifier. I don't know how I like naming it like this. Support vector classifier. I think that's the name. SV classifier is equal to an SVC, and yeah, just an SVC. I'm not going to give any, long thing. I'm going to do SV classifier dot fit. I'm going to fit it on X train, comma Y train. And like I said, I'm not going to focus on creating a best model, so I'm not going to be tweaking a lot of hyperparameters. All I'm going to do is to probably use their default and the ones I have to change. So I'm going to try and train this model, and I really hope it doesn't take long. If it does, then I'll probably pause the video and get back to you when it's done. Okay, this is taking longer than I expected. I think to say what I'm thinking about right now is that the model deployment will be my biggest issue, because I don't really know web dev, so it will not be that simple for me. I'm going to try and use Django. I know it's a very simple project, but I want to try and use Django so that I learn it, how to use it. Then I'm going to try and deploy the model to Django. Maybe Heroku or one of those GitHub and the hosting services. And then, yeah, because obviously if I train a model and I save it and I think it works very fine, I'll try and deploy it. Now I have to also figure out a way of processing image that I take from the user. So we'll work on that after we are done with the training of the module. 1 minute has passed and it hasn't finished training. I mean, 60,000 training examples is a lot, but let's see. All right, guys. So the model has finished training all right, but I just figured that I think I made a mistake, because as of now, if I try to do a model, no, sorry, that's a model. SV classifier dot predict. Okay, that's not a dot. Dot predict. What am I even typing? Dot predict some digit. This should be an array. Well, it gave me the 5, but I think it took really long because this 5 is a string. I should have converted this into an integer so that it will be easy. So right here, before I do the train test split, what I'm going to do is to, if I do the train test split, what I'm going to do is to change the type of the y variable, the target variable, to an integer, so that it will be very easy for the thing to calculate. It will be easier for the computer to work on numbers. So that's what I'm going to do. So over here, I'm going to do y is equal to y dot as type, and I'm going to do an numpy. Okay, that means I have to import numpy also. And then right here, I'm going to do import numpy as np. That didn't take as long as the matplotlib anyway. Then I'll do numpy dot unsigned int, maybe 8. That should do. And now I think if I do maybe y, the first one, I should get an actual 5 instead of the 5 as a string. So I'm going to try and train the model again and see how long it takes. This one took 6 minutes, 2.4 seconds. I'll still cut the training section if it takes too long, so don't worry about it. And oh, by the way, if you're watching this and you've not already subscribed to the channel, please consider subscription to the channel. I would very much appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. We have to build a community here that would actually make progress. Thanks. All right, so this model has finished training in less time, 5 minutes 51 seconds, and it has predicted the same thing, 5, by as a number now, as an integer. So the last thing I'll do before I end up this section of the full video is to save the module. So I'm going to do an import pickle, and then I'm going to have a file path. Oh, should I say module path? That would be better. Or module folder. I don't know what to say. Module folder is equal to the current directory, and then from the current directory I'd like to go to module / maybe saved modules. Yeah, now I'll put another slash here. So what I'm going to do is to open up a new file or write a new file. So with open, and then the file name would be the module folder plus whatever I want to name the file. So I'm going to name it svclassifier.pickle.pkl, and I'm going to write binary as file. With this open as file, do a pickle.dump into file, and then the object I would like to dump would be the SV classifier. Yeah, this should do the work. I'm going to run this. Okay, there's a problem. There is no such directory. Okay, I think I can import OS, and then I'll do os.make. I think this works. Make directory. os.make directory, and directory be the module folder exist okay equals true. If it's already there, it should be there. All right, so I think it has worked, I believe. Yeah, so there is module, and then there is saved module, and it's over there. So if I want to load the module, all I need to do is to let me have something where loaded module. Let me just check that everything is working. It's equal to, I think I should create a function for loading a module. I don't know if I should claim you. I'm not going to try and create the best code or the best clean code or anything. I'm just going to let the code work. So I'm going to do with open. Oh, let me copy all of this here, and this should be right binary. Now I'll do loaded module is equal to pickle.load, and I'm going to load file. Yeah, that should do the loading. And if I do loaded module dot predict some digits, that should do the work. So yeah, I've been able to save the module successfully. So yeah, so guys, I'm going to end off this particular section over here. So we've created a module, we've looked at the data set, we've trained an SV classifier, and we've been able to save the module down for future use. Obviously, the time that it took was too long. There was no way I'm going to train that again. So in the next section, we'll continue. All right, guys, welcome back to a new section. In the last section that we we were working on this project, we were able to fit our classifier, and we were able to make sure that it was working. We tried it on just one example anyway, and then we used the pickle module to save the module, and yeah, we have a saved copy of the module. And if you have noticed, I've changed the folder name right here because I realized that I was actually repeating something. And also, I was able to work on the site. So if you come to the left side over here on my directory, you will see a new folder over here named site. I was able to work on the website. I didn't want to include the creation of the website in this video because I think it will actually take a lot of time, because I didn't know anything about Flask or web development. I didn't know much about it. So I had to do a lot of research and watch a lot of videos. So that would really be a waste of time in this video. So I've decided to build a starting point of all of this. The site basically is able to take an image from the user, like allow the user to upload an image, and then we can work with that file. That's what I've done with the site so far. Now, back to our model. Since we have already trained the model, and I've also closed the code editor for some time, I'm pretty sure I will not be able to use the same. I'm pretty sure I will not be able to use how do I say it? These same things, the variables and everything that I've imported over here. So I have to do all of that again. But when I'm doing all of that, I am going to not train the model again, which means that I'm going to comment out everything here, and I'm also going to comment out this, and I'll comment out all of this, and I'll comment out all of this. We'll work with them at the right time. So what I'm going to do is to restart the kernel, and then I'll run all the cells so that the import statements and the data will be loaded and all of that. Right. Yeah, this one always takes time. I don't know why when you are fetching data with the fetch OpenML, it takes time. This one is taking, if it takes too long, as usual, I'll cut it off. So as that is happening, let's try and look for some music. I'm actually going to YouTube, and I'll go and look for royalty-free music, so that well, this doesn't seem, this doesn't sound bad anyway. Oh, it has not finished. Hey.
Colorful Flowers by Tokyo Music Walker.
They have playlists. Let me see if I can get hip hop. This is taking longer than I expected. Okay, I think 3 minutes is too much, so I'm going to close this. And so as that is happening, let me look for some handwritten image of numbers. Still taking very long to um, still taking very long to just import this and fetch the data, and that's what I don't understand. So what I'm going to do right now is to create a new file right here. I'm going to create a new file, model test and evaluation, or model evaluation dot ipy md. All right, and let me take a quick care. Let me take care of this. And now my PC will be making noise. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is to load a model. So I have to first import pickle. Yeah, sorry. I'm supposed to change the kernel to ML. Yeah, so now that I've imported pickle, what I'm going to do is to with open saved models slash, I can't remember the name. I think it was CV classifier. CV classifier. Hey, let's say CV SV classifier dot pkl, and I'm going to open it as read binary and ask for SV, or let me just say model. Model is equal to pickle dot load, and I am going to load file. Should that be taking very long? As I am doing that, I think I will do a pip install pillow, because we'll be using pillow to resize the images that I've just downloaded. Alright, so apparently pillow is already installed. So what I'm going to do right now is just use it basically. So what I'm going to do is to load one of the test data. So I'm going to do the one I named one. I don't know why. So I'm going to from PIL import image, and what I'm going to do now is to do an img, or image is equal to image dot open, and what I'm going to open is in test images slash one dot png, and let me do image dot show. Oops. Oh, okay, it will actually open the image for me. I'm not going to do that again. What I'm going to do, I want to be able to, let me use numpy so that I convert the image into an numpy array. Import numpy as np, and then I'm going to do np.asArray, and I'm going to pass image to it. Okay, so that should be image, maybe image array, and what I'm going to do is to do image array dot resize, and I'm going to change to a 28 by 28 since that's the stand. So I cannot resize. What if I use pillow to resize it? So I'll do image should be equal to image dot resize 28 28. We should be closing twice, and like this. Okay, that's interesting. I don't know why it's having 2 dimensions right now. But is it possible to resize a 3-dimensional array into a 2-dimensional array? Or is it reshape? I think it's reshape. 28. Why am I writing 28? 28. Okay, I have to think about this. How to resize an image into a 2-dimensional numpy array. All right, guys. So the last section was kind of a mess. I was really like, I didn't know what to do. So I went off the section and I went to do, a lot of research, and I'm back. So now that I'm back, I am coming to show you what I've discovered and how we should go about things. And I really discovered how to be able to convert images like JPG files that I've taken from the user into the right structure so that I'll be able to evaluate or give the prediction on them. So that's what I'm coming to show you anyway. So first, we are going to be using the pillow as we've talked about. So from pillow PIL, not like that, import image, right? So basically, this is what I've discovered. I take the image, I load the image with this line, then I resize the image into the 28 by 28 so that we'll be able to get what we are looking for. Then I now save the image as the new file, which is a 28 by 28 image. So I'll save it like that. Then finally, no, not it's not finally anyway. Then I would use the CV2 model, the OpenCV model, the OpenCV package. Then I'll use this package to read the new image, convert it into black and white grayscale so that it will be easier for the thing to identify. I don't know if you get what I'm trying to say. So here I'm supposed to import numpy as np. Yeah. So with this, I read the image, convert it to grayscale. Then I now take the array version of that grayscale, and it definitely gives me a two-dimensional array. So it will be easier because the image is 28 by 28. We resized it over here. Because we resized the image over here, the the whole image, the whole array will also be 28 by 28. Now I tried to plot the image and see what kind of data I would get before I'll pass it to it. That was where the problem was. We were actually getting the inverted form of it. So instead of getting the three being black, we were getting the three being white and everywhere else being black. That's why the model was not working and then we were suffering. So what I'm going to do here is to show you a couple of examples. So I'm just going to the web and I'm going to search some numbers. So I just did a 3. I'm going to search for the number 7. Yeah, I'm going to search for the number 7. Then I could just take any random one. Let's say this is an easy one for the model to detect. So this is 7. And what I'm going to do is to save this file in place of the 3. I just want to override it so that I'll show you what I'm talking about. Then I'm now going to run the code from the top. So here I run this so that it will be able to, load the image and then resize the image, save it back. Now I'll load it back again, and now I'm going to draw it. So this is basically what we'll be passing to the model, and I'm going to let the model predict. Well, it predicted it as a 3, so yeah. So the model is not all that accurate, but then it works for some of them, basically. Let me get another digit. One without this blur at the bottom. Let's try this one. I want something very easy so that our model will not suffer. Let's try this one. Okay, this one has something written on it. I can't use it. This might interfere with, but let me just do it. Let me just use it. Save image as. I'm going to use to replace what I just saved. And we try again. So I basically run this, and do the prediction. Predicted it as a 1. So basically it depends on how it is. The model is not accurate. Zero. Let me try 0. So I think this 0 is clean. The model should be able to do a perfect job predicting this one. I hope so. So this is a GIF. I wanted a JPG. Let's try this one. Oops. It looks like a zero. Yeah. So the model predicts this one as a zero. So the model is not all that accurate, that's for sure. And but I still think we can deploy it. Like we can try and improve it, but I still think we can deploy it like this. And I'm going to run more tests, but I'm going to end up this section. And I believe this is basically everything. Now, if I want to deploy this model, okay, I'll show you how to deploy the model or what I'm planning to do. So I have Sublime. I'm basically just going to use the Sublime to open up the sites folder that I showed you, the one about the web. This is almost full. So now that I've got Sublime here, all I need to do is to you know what I'm thinking is that I remove PNG from here since the PNG doesn't work well. So it only takes JPG and JEPG. And um, for the record, this is not a very secured, how do you call it? This is not a very secured website that I'm trying to build over. I'm just trying to explain what is going to happen. So I think before I save the image, I should do all the. I think before I save the message, sorry, not the message. Before I save the image, I should do all this before I save the image. It will be better. Or I'll probably do it after I've saved the image. I'll load it back, make the necessary changes before I render something to the user. So somewhere around. Maybe somewhere around here. Oh, after I've saved this, so I could probably call a function to resave image. Hey guys, I don't want to bore you with all the web dev stuff since it's really not my thing and then I've not actually mastered it. But I think I'll be able to finish it and then I'll show you guys how it would work. Then I'll show you guys how it would work in the next session and then we'll call it a day. I know this video is not the most ideal one that everyone wants to watch. I know I'm suffering over here. I'm basically not teaching you anything. But in any case, I thank you for sticking around up to this point if you did. I think this is section 3. So section 4 we should be ending the video. Alright guys, sorry about me not showing the webcam. I'm actually not having a lot of time today, so I'm going to make it very fast. Today's section, I'm actually coming to conclude because I've gone ahead to finish the whole project on my own. It was quite involving, I have to say, because I have to do a lot of research on my own. But then I started the whole project again. I did another model. So I loaded a data set and I trained an SVC. After training the SVC, it seems to be getting me the higher score, 0.98, but I didn't actually trust that. So I decided to train a KNN, the K-neighbors classifier. And I trained that. But then when that score is also 0.98, but it's quite lower than the SVC. So I decided to test the two of them on the test set, and it seems the SVC performed way better than the KN classifier. So what I decided to do was to check their precision and recall score, and it seems for everything that I check, the SVC is always 0.01 ahead of the KN classifier. So I decided to go with the SVC, but then couldn't really get what I was looking for because it wasn't working all that well. So I decided to save those models first. So as you can see, I've saved a lot of models over here. Now, I decided to think about something that I call data augmentation. So I decided to shift the images to the left, right, top, and bottom by 1 unit. I decided to shift all of them. So it gave me about five times of the data set again. So I used that new data set to train the model and then save it again. So I got a new model. Then after training them, I decided to test them again. And again, the SVC performed better than the KN classifier. So I finally decided to go with the SVC. Now, what I decided to do was to tweak parameters. But then the grid search, when I'm using the grid search for KN classifier, it trains very fast. So I was able to, go through a lot of parameters and I got its best parameter. But still, its best parameter is not better than the SVC's original parameters. And that's bad. But when I tried the grid search for the SVC, where is it? Right. Yeah. So when I tried the grid search for the SVC, it was taking too long. I wasn't able to get what I was looking for. It took about 500 minutes to get me the very first CV of the first candidate, and it was really bad. I couldn't wait that long, so I decided to stop. So I'll show you what I've done so far. I've been able to deploy the module, the old one that I just talked about. So right now, if you go to um, I deployed it to identifydigit.herokuapp.com. I use Heroku app to deploy the module. So if you go to this URL, all right, so it has loaded. So this is what I've managed to design, right? So if I select an image, let's say 0, and I upload this file, it actually gives me the 0. So some of them works. It works for some of them. Try again. Let's say I upload a 2. I know the 2 would work. The problem comes with 8, 5, and those ones. So let me try 5. So it's seeing it as a 9. So the model is not all that perfect. Like it's actually bad. But I'm not too focused on getting the right model because that's not my whole point of this particular project that I took on. The whole point was for me to go through the whole process of building and deploying the model. So I've been able to do that, and I'm really happy about it. And I'm happy. Like the model has been deployed, and I'm really happy. So what I'm going to do right now is to just upload this video as it is, and let me give some ending remarks. I'm honestly, if you've watched up to this point, I would like to thank you for staying up to this point. And if you would like to get more raw footage like this, like me trying to build something and going through all the procedure, Googling and all of that, let me know in the comment section. Please do comment on the videos. Let me know what you think. Give a video a like if you actually like the video. And I thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy, please leave a like behind and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate that. And this is me. I'll see you guys in the next one. That's it, guys. I'll see you guys in the next one.